This is a Nekko Media podcast.
What's your pleasure, sir?
We don't have to worry about nothing, cause we got the fire.
And we're burning one hell of a something. Hey,
Gonna see us from outer space.
outer space, let it up.
Starts with the human race.
Human race.
When the lights turn down, they don't know what they heard. Strike the match, play loud, giving love to the world. We'll be raising our hand, shining up to the sky.
Cause we got that fire.
Fire. Burn! 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 Burn!
Welcome, cinephiles and cinebites. This is episode 4, Burn. I be your host, Annika Pussyfoot, Cinderella Hellborn, mother of Grendel, the bringer of chains, the fucker of faces, full-time soul breaker, dog raper, cheese-tasting hobbyist, eggnogaholic, Dan Stevens enthusiast, wicked witch of the best. Yes. Anyway, the boys are lit with this one, and on behalf of them, apologies. I have none. But we all hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Today's show is a long one. Yeah, Mox and Ona are overdue with their recommendations. They share cigarette stories, list off favorite novel-based movies, and talk shit. Here on the Slashtag configuration, they open up the episode with a review of the latest thriller to come out in theaters. Well, last month actually. Thriller, absurd, a bit obscure, odd, and amazing. The Killing of the Sacred Deer. I mentioned this movie to a few peeps and they thought I was talking about some dark ceremony I attended. But do check this movie out when you get a chance. Shout out to the homie Colin Farrell. Slashtag configuration.
Alright, welcome to a new Slashtag configuration. Today we'll be talking about the movie The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and written by him as well.
Of course.
And another Efthimis Philippou. Maybe.
Gotta love those Greek names.
Yeah. But you might know this writer-director for his work on The Lobster, which also starred Colin Farrell.
Yep.
This movie also stars Nicole Kidman. We also get I want to say it's almost like a cameo by Alicia Silverstone.
Oh yeah, she really was only in like 2 scenes, yeah?
Yeah.
2 back-to-back
Like
scenes.
one scene, and
Yeah.
then we don't see her. Her character is brought up though, but she's never seen again.
She was on point too. She really was super plastic and creepy.
And timeless.
Well, yeah.
She's
She's
timeless.
Alicia Silverstone. Of
Yeah.
course, she's still gorgeous.
She still looks like whatever.
As if.
Yes. Okay. But the movie also stars Raffi Cassidy as Kim Murphy, Colin Farrell's daughter. We also got a really amazing creepy performance by Martin, or his character's Martin. The actor is Barry Keoghan.
This is somebody to watch, I feel. This is the creepiest fucking character since Norman Bates. Although he didn't have the likableness of Norman Bates. He had the innocence, but not the inherent likability. But he's creepy as Norman
And
Bates.
it's all a facade. And it's, well, I'm giving it away.
I feel,
In a
yeah,
sense.
it's maybe an unintentional facade. Because I don't think there's malevolence in what he's doing. It's matter of fact. Everything here is so matter of fact.
Yes.
The hideous nature of shit that's occurring is just like, it's what you think it is. Yeah. Now you gotta kill this or this or that.
So a brief summary of the movie. So we have Colin Farrell's character, Steven. He's a surgeon,
Yeah.
cardiovascular.
Some kind of cardio surgeon.
Yeah, surgeon. And
Cardiothoracic,
he
maybe.
kind of befriends this kid in the movie.
Who's a half orphan of a man who died on his table.
Yes, and he sort of the relationship kind of progresses into something creepier,
Fatal
thrilling,
Attraction-y, almost
like single white female-ish.
Yeah.
And it goes into someplace dark.
And then it even turns from that dark end too, like it turns to be kind of a revenge plotty thing with
Yes.
mystical.
But I don't know if they're supposed to show, because in the trailer it's kind of almost not misleading, but it's showing other stuff.
Yeah, it does. It gives you what the overall is, but not where this movie goes.
Yeah.
And or it doesn't capture the full tone of the movie either. It's as if Wes Anderson was evil.
Yes, it's very.
That's exact. You know,
like
I feel.
Wes Anderson and Spike Jonze got together, hung out, and like, hey, Charlie Kaufman, go write this movie.
Yeah.
And it was sprinkle
It's
angel
very-
dust on
it's
it. It's like, what?
Kind of isolated. It's definitely deadpan and quirky, but it is overwhelmingly creepy, especially the music. I feel like that's part of the
We got a
inside
lot of,
joke.
yeah, it starts off. Okay, so that's the synopsis right
Yeah.
there. So yeah, let's get into it. So the movie opens up on a big
Hearts.
classical.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
the
it's like black screen for like.
it's
10,
too
15
long.
seconds, yeah.
Long enough that I fell asleep and I woke up and they're in the fucking. I was like telling myself, stay
There's-
up. I want to see the opening image because
there's
that
this,
is going to set the tone.
There's this heart that's beating,
Yeah.
and it's not a normal heart. Because at first I thought, no way, that's because it
Yeah, it
doesn't
didn't
look
have
like that.
four.
There's like that's plaque. That's plaque and fat all over it. That's like the fatty oil. That's like that's not a good clean heart. I don't think.
Oh yeah, when you're on the table,
Yeah.
it ain't
It ain't
about good
either way,
hearts.
right?
Yeah, it ain't. You on the table, you did some bad deals.
But yeah, so it opens up on that, and so that's Stephen, or that's Colin Farrell's
Farrell.
job in the movie. His character's a surgeon, yeah. So so I've never seen The Lobster, so I get this already distinct tone and delivery of dialogue. It's so dry, very specific and matter of factly, like we were saying earlier.
The lobster isn't that dry. You see characters react appropriately to absurdity versus this movie it's still deadpan through a lot of the absurdities.
Yeah. And
His daughter is really taken by Martin.
not so much the little brother, even though
The little brother is just dead. He's a non.
I feel like he's insignificant
Yeah.
in this whole thing. Like,
He's not so much a character as he is a prop.
cause yeah, like he gets it first.
Yep.
But then like Colin Farrell doesn't care, almost like not care, but like I know you're doing this as a joke.
Yeah,
Like,
the
he
way
doesn't believe
the
him.
way they react to it is not what you at first. You know, it's not what you would think of a parent would react to a fucked up child or a child with
Yes.
health concerns. It's and even when the child collapses trying to leave the hospital, what's her name? Nicole Kidman is very patiently and calmly asking, "Oh, could you help me with him? Could you help me get him up?" Instead of like the traditional screen, because we're craned up like 30 feet above
And
her
also
in a
the
wide, and
shots.
yeah, she's not even screaming. That's when you're supposed to get your dramatic "Help me,
I
please!"
know. And the only time he screams, Colin Farrell, is when he goes over to his house, Martin's house.
Yeah, he's like, "I'll
I'm not
fuck you
kidding.
and your mom like you wanted me to. Open up."
Yeah, like that's the only time. Like, and like throughout the entire movie, he's just like,
Well, he does raise his voice in the kitchen when what's her name comes at him a little bit, like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you silly irrelevant man, you know, you're not talking about the real, you're not focusing on the real problems.
And the camera work is interesting because it's not like it's like the camera set like 2 feet above the character, and it's not a bird's eye view, but it's like just above them as they're
Yeah.
always walking around, and it's kind of almost like a third person kind of view when you're playing like some kind of RPG, like that's
Yeah, like
That's what
almost
it feels
over the
like.
shoulder, you know, kind of not like a half panorama ish.
and I feel that gives it that almost absurdist kind of texture because it's almost non-traditional. Well, I'd say non-traditional, but like it's not normal.
Yeah, it's a weird framing.
And yeah, it gives it that kind of. Do you see that in the Lobster?
Not that I can remember, but I'm sure, guys like this have a definite visual style.
Right. And other things to point out in the movie, it's just so it's not a boring movie. The dialogue drives it. You're just caught off guard the way they speak in this movie.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering what is going to happen next. There's some pretty dark parts in there too, the racy kind of stuff. But I think the relationship between Colin Farrell and the rest of his family is already established early on in the film. He's a caring, charming dude who cares about his children, their well-being, what they're doing in school, just typical normal family. And then and he's done nothing wrong.
Well, that we know.
And then this guy comes out of nowhere who's been planning this for like years. Martin, his plot to get back at him.
Well, is that what you gathered, that he was planning it for years?
I feel like for the right moment, but the way he attacks the kids, like we don't know how he did it.
That's right? What I mean. I think it was gonna happen. Like, I don't think this is Martin putting it into play. Martin to me feels more like a herald than the villain.
Huh. Okay.
Because he's unable to stop it, and I don't believe that he started it. All he ever says is, "This is what's gonna happen to you."
Oh, so like he also could be something that had nothing to do with the kids.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. You think it could have been Alicia Silverstone?
Well, I think also you're looking for meaning where none exists. That's not the point.
The answer. Damn it. Oh, so okay. Interesting. Like, because then if it was years before, right? So a kid, if he already knew he wanted to do revenge, this would have to be like planning to the T. Kind of like John Doe and Seven.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's however he planned that.
I mean, that shit, that's next level. Yeah. This
level.
kid, I do not believe he's capable of it, nor do I believe
that's
in his character.
Oh, because they make reference to the Greek gods, right? Artemis.
Yeah.
Isn't Artemis the messenger?
Maybe. Who's the hunter?
I don't know. Like,
well, yeah, could be.
Hermes, I think that's Roman, or like
Virgin.
or Mercury, the planet Mercury is the guy with the wings, right? The messenger.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah. Well, I mean, there's
goes
Greek shit. There's Greek shit all over the place
mythology.
in this deal. But yeah, this film feels very mythic, but also very scary and hollow, but also very hilarious and paradoxical. I felt it makes you experience more than one competing emotions at a time. Like, I was laughing, but also clenching my with this thing in the in the anus.
Oh, okay. Your knuckles?
No.
Oh. Oh, your
Yeah,
colon.
Well, yeah, but the other name for it. Regardless, yeah, I was clenching my butt and laughing because I was scared, disgusted, but also it was hilarious. The reactions, some of the dialogue at the points,
I feel like this movie's like the answer is there. It's just not presented to us in a traditional fashion. Kind of like
Well, I feel the door's open to interpretation,
Let's see. I wonder if it's kind of like a Waiting for Godot.
It is. I mean, another absurd kind of deal,
Okay, are they dead? Are they alive? No, it says it right there. No, it doesn't. It's not there. I mean, and it's like you can't really interpret it in many different ways. There is one answer.
There's never one answer with true art. Well, tell me what's up with Mona Lisa then, if you have all the answers. Why is she smiling a little bit? Why is her brow a little bit cocked?
Okay, sure. Watch this movie and just what you see is what you get on the film, on the screen. And that's all I have to say about it, because
Well, I say don't believe the eyes. I trust your gut. Maybe I feel it impacted me more on a gut level, a visceral level. Although there are great visuals to look at and some interesting compositions, and you kind of makes you think like, what? Why are they doing it this way? Is it because it makes it more uncomfortable? Because there's a lot of discomfort. I feel for me there
are a lot of scenes that are discomforting and kind of just out of nowhere.
What about tension? Did you feel it was overwrought with tension?
Yes.
You thought so?
There's some scenes where I'm like, what is he gonna? How are they gonna fuck this scene up? And I'm not like thinking messed up, but like,
how is it gonna get
just
dark?
Weird, dark and weird. Like, because there are so far up until like some points, I'm like, okay, it can go anyway.
And I think maybe that's what removed the tension for me, because it didn't matter to me what would happen, just that something fucked up could happen. Yeah. But to me, that wasn't the point, so it didn't scare me. In fact, it's kind of laughable at some parts.
Yeah, it's kind of okay. that's fine. That's foreign independent funny.
Yeah. I feel like that should be a thing, right? It's foreign independent funny. There's hangover funny. Yeah. There's fucking girl bachelor party funny, and then there's foreign independent funny.
Shout out to Colin Farrell.
Nailed it as usual.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman, Alicia Silverstone.
Hell yeah, nailed it.
Raffi Cassidy
What's the young dude name of Martin? Watch for that kid.
Yes, Barry Keoghan. Very, like, if you give him a good, like, not a good director, but if you give him the right direction, he can deliver.
I think so.
Yeah. He's got range. I feel so. And shout out to the kid who played Bob Murphy, Sonny Sujic. But let's see, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, definite. Yo, watch. And we paid. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah.
And we paid fucking $12 this time. Like usually we in the $8, $9 range max.
We stuck it out. Mock stuck it out. I'm happy for him. He decided to go watch this.
And I didn't miss too much of when I passed out, but it was like just small, like Black was like, neck was getting sore, like bobbing, like
I filled him in the next scene. It's fine. Yeah.
You had to whack me only one. Oh, Nicole Kidman gets fucking naked as shit, and she is still gorgeous, man.
Babe.
And it's like a one take, and it's a wide, or it's a wide medium. There's no cutting in for the body double.
No. Yeah, she did amazing in this movie. Props to her. Yeah. So Killing of a Sacred Deer, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. You'll watch CC.
Don't go down that road. It's a horror movie podcast.
Welcome to Don't Go Down That Road Horror Movie Podcast with John and Rachel. I'm John.
And I'm Rachel.
And we are glad to be a Phantom Podcast Network member that you can find on downrightcreepy.com.
Downright.
Rachel, what do we do?
Well, we're a podcast that takes two horror films with similar themes, and we put them in a figurative fight at the end, so it doesn't matter if the movie was good or bad. It's just kind of based off character development / what we've just watched and made fun of.
That's right. We review. Yay! But we also get special guests to help us out sometimes, and sometimes we do special interviews with people in the business.
Yes.
We also do some reviews sometimes. It depends if we watched a movie we want to talk about. Mm-hmm. But we do lots of things. And we love our listeners to always be involved, so we're always open to suggestions and opinions, I guess. S2EP04.com, or you can check us out on iTunes and Stitcher or even Google Play. But most importantly, check them out on Phantom Podcast Network on downrightcreepy.com. Rachel, where else can they find us?
Well, y'all can take a gander at our social media. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at DGTR Podcast.
That's correct. So, thanks, and we hope you guys enjoy our show eventually.
And remember,
don't go down that road.
The horror movie podcast. Don't go down that road.
Alright, up next is Kicking and Streaming, where the boys recommend each other programming featured on popular streaming services. They're a little late on this one too. Kicking and Streaming.
All right, well, welcome to this kicking and streaming. For my kicking and streaming, I have season 2, or you can say sequel, Stranger Things. The series is created by brothers Ross and Matt Duffer. We have an amazing ensemble of actors too, but the list is too long, and a majority of them are returning. Right? But we also have new actors in this season as well. But the series does star Winona Ryder, David Harbour, Finn Wolfhard, and Millie Bobby Brown.
A fat David Harbour. Like, I don't know. Is he putting on weight for
For
Hellboy or
Hellboy?
something? Because he looks fat. Like, or is that for his character? I
Maybe
don't know,
I want to say to emphasize it, they probably gave him smaller clothes.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because Hellboy's not fat unless this iteration of Hellboy is going to be fat, like fat Hellboy.
Neil Marshall, what are you doing? Anyway.
Oh, God, that's right. It's going to be Neil Marshall, yeah? Oh, I'm so excited.
The series is a Netflix original and currently streaming 9 episodes. So it's fall 1984 in Hawkins, Indiana, days before Halloween, and arcades have finally reached this rural town. That's what the kids are doing these days. All seems well since the events of the first season, which was, I'd say, about a year ago in the Stranger Things timeline. Will is alive and well, still adjusting to a normal life. His friends are still there too, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas. But since season 1, the whereabouts of 11 are unknown. Or is it? With the loss of a handful of characters in season 1, we're introduced to another new handful, both with key parts and supporting ones. Most notably, a new member of the group we refer to as Mad Max, the new girl who turns out to be a high-scoring player at the local arcade. Her older stepbrother is the hot boy new kid too at school, who plays sort of an antagonistic role to one Steve Harrington. The stepbrother is played by Dagger Montgomery, and I gotta say, I don't know if you've noticed his eyes. They're kind of like Nestor Carbonell. He played Richard in Lost, and he was the mayor in the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. So
yeah, he was. He's also the sheriff on the Psycho.
Oh, okay.
The Norman Bates Hotel. Yeah.
Oh,
I told you, I saw him in person, right, at Kailua Blockbuster.
Really?
Yeah, and this is must have when years after Lost wrapped.
So you're still living here, just hanging out?
Huh?
He was just hanging
Yeah,
out.
with what looked like his family and kids.
Wow.
And I was trying not to stare at him because I didn't know his name. If I were to be like, "Hey, you're that guy from that thing," but I was like, "Oh shit, that guy is famous."
Yeah, but Montgomery either wears a lot of eyeliner or has those eyes like Carbonell, which of course I'm referring to as his eyeliner heavy looking eyes, which in actuality he had to wear makeup during Lost to lighten up his eyes because he had those like dark circles, which were actually natural. But aside from those two, Paul Reiser's character leads the lab, and Sean Austin's character is dating writers.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob, right? Joyce Byers, yeah. He's dating
Speaking
her.
of which, I just saw Goonies again recently. It's kind of funny to see him as like a fat old Samwise Gauji, and then see him as that cute little kid. Bob was a great character, though.
He was, yeah, he was for sure. But I don't want to give too much details about the show or actually hype it up in any way. That's why I didn't enjoy season 1 as much as everyone, because I think it was overhyped for me. So I just
it was overhyped.
Yeah.
Stranger Things ain't that great.
Yeah, it wasn't. Like I thought it was good, but I didn't see what the big deal was.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, passably good, but not like groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Everybody on everybody's topic, like everybody's top 5 list of the year. Come on, guys.
So with Stranger Things 2, like I just didn't care, and I didn't care about season 2, whatever. But just like Steve Harrington's advice to Dustin, act like you don't care. And that is why I love this season so much. My expectations of the show was nil, and after the last episode of season 2, I definitely want more. So season 2 takes us on an up and upside down ride of Will's adjustment to life, and soon to be once again, he's gonna get treated again.
Will seemed more like the central character in this one as opposed to the catalyst character in the first season, right?
Yes, so I'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, Because yeah, Will is, we're dealing with memories, now memories, flashbacks, dream sequences, new monsters, and bigger ones too in season 2. So, but I think the best part of this season was to see the progression and growth of all the other characters. See, in season 1, it was mostly just Joyce, Hopper, Mike, and Eleven. They're in the spotlight, which is how the story went. But in season 2, we get to see everyone else. And I think the best part of season 2 definitely goes to the relationship between Steve and Dustin. When their
Yeah.
significant others slash friends turn their focus elsewhere, Steve and Dustin find each other through chance circumstance that require the help of each other, and it just bloomed into something awesome. It's definitely a brotherly bond, and one can't help but point out the Stand By Me homage during the building of their relationship. It's dope.
It even takes place on the train tracks.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing, right? So, going into any more details, though, I feel I'll just spoil it. I did enjoy this season, though, a lot, and more so than season 1. And that's because I just didn't care. And you should too. Stranger Things 2?
I don't already. At this point, I'm over it. Season 3 comes, I'm not on board.
You're not a bar. Well,
Also, I'm over all the Marvel fucking series. Like, now it's on every streaming network. They're creating their own, like, Runaways and Power Up
all right.
guys and,
Yeah.
like, ugh, enough already.
They're getting on that
But this one,
bandwagon, that cash cow. That cash cow. So,
ugh, do they not understand oversaturation? But so, Stranger Things season 2, you'll
yeah, definitely on your watch
definitely
this year.
you'll watch.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd have to agree, even though I was a little disappointed, especially by that end. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
definitely worth.
I know, right? Like, I wonder if you were to just give it a happy ending and kind of and leave instead of leaving it on a cliffhanger, just surprise us in episode 1 of season 3 if they decided to
Yeah,
make one. Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like we've done our duty and we've binged this bitch, and they're just gonna leave us on some dreadful fucking cliffhanger. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. The less, the better. I feel we're not a spoiler show, and they haven't had as long to watch this as they did when we covered season 1. At season 1 they had like the year and a fucking half almost, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
true.
definitely. Without spoilers, it's a recommend.
Cool.
So on the other end of the spectrum, a more reality grounded thing, we have Netflix original The Punisher, created by Hannibal's guy Steve Lightfoot, starring John Bernthal, Amber Rose Riva, Eben Moss Backrack, and Ben Barnes of Prince Caspian from the fucking Lion Witch wardrobe stuff. So this series picks up on Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, as he finishes off the last loose ends of the biker gangs and cartels that needed murdering before he hangs up his skull vest. Frank doesn't get too much time to rest, as he is relentlessly pursued by the mysterious Micro, a man who claims to have been destroyed by the same people who killed Castle's family. So Frank, eventually, after a paranoid torturing for the truth episode, he starts working with Micro, who turns out to be a computer genius who opted to work as an NSA analyst instead of the much more financially lucrative and morally safer Silicon Valley. So, Micro got a tape of a torturing that Frank and his government hit squad performed on an Arab police officer, and he tried to run it up the ladder. What happened instead is that the agent in charge of the Homeland Security's New York office tried to kill him, and then subsequently wrecked his reputation. So now Micro lives in an abandoned warehouse, pretending to be dead so that further attempts aren't made on his life and that of his wife and 2 children. So Frank, upon finding out that the kill squad he was a part of wasn't even government sanctioned, he begins, in true Punisher fashion, killing his way to the truth. And as always, the truth is profoundly evil. So my take on it is The Punisher is a thoughtful observation on the tragedy of the human condition and the purity of violence, not in its ability to cleanse, but in its revelation of honesty in ourselves, our country, and our world. Humanity is violent by design. The very act of birth is violent and jarring. We're ripped from a comforting darkness into a world we struggle to breathe in and process.
Just when you think you have a beat on how it works, bam, you're ripped from that comforting place as well. And it never gets easier. The Punisher is a testament to that tragic fact. As a loving husband and father, he admits to missing the action of war when he was on like a home break. And we get the feeling that life was never, or that life of Family Man guy was never his life's true trajectory. And unlike Batman, whose identity was born from tragedy, I feel like Frank Castle was born the Punisher. He tried to be something else or someone else, and all it caused was pain and unnecessary, unfortunate pain, but it galvanized his actualization and put that skull on his chest. So the Punisher, unlike most comic book and action fare, is not wish fulfillment. It's a mirror of the duality within all of us. What we love is tied directly to what we hate. For as much as the Punisher punishes evil, he simultaneously punishes himself. And he's a reminder of heroic tragedy and the tragedy of heroes, because nothing can ever be truly heroic without an accompanying tragedy. And I feel like humanity is nothing if not heroically tragic. So definite yo watch CC. It's streaming on Netflix right the fuck now. I don't know. I love that trailer. I don't know why you thought that one sucked. I thought like one is the perfect song for that, for his character.
Cool.
All right. Welcome to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast.
Oh, Dave,
Dave,
hold the phone there, man. This isn't a show. It's a promo.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Wait, a porno? With just the three of us?
Oh.
Well, I guess I'm game if you guys are.
No, you idiot. A promo.
Oh, promo. I knew that. I was just cracking wise.
Okay, can we do this now? Wait, looks like I lost my notes. What are we gonna do?
Of course, okay. Look, I'll handle this. All right, everybody. I'm Christian. You may know me from TJF13. This guy over here, that's Dave Z. You may know him from Banana Laser, The Skeleton Crew, the ABCs of Hidden Horror. And this guy over here, that's Brandon.
That's Brandon? That's it? That sucks, man.
Yeah, what the hell's with that? There's nothing else you can say?
No, not really.
Well, he's quick with a joke.
Or a light of your smoke.
But there's someplace that I'd rather be.
Who cares about us? Let's say something about the cast.
Okay, cool. We're the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast. We review, dissect, critique, and make fun of horror movies, new and old.
Sounds a little bit cliche, but I guess it's okay.
Dave, why don't you tell them a little bit about some of our big shows, like the 40 Years of Horror, our top 50 slashers, even our classic format of pairing a new and an old movie together.
Yeah, and how I have to edit like 3-4 hour shows twice a month just because we watch and review so damn much.
Yeah, and how we do feature-length reviews, shorter length, round-robin reviews, top 20 topics, and a lot of fun interaction with listeners.
That about covers it.
All right, sounds good, guys.
I knew we could do it.
Tell the fine folks out there where to find us, Dave.
Oh yeah, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast can be found on Horrorphilia.com, the Horrorphilia Network, LegionPodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and anywhere that fine podcasts are heard.
All right, that's a wrap. Now, guys, tell me, what's the deal with this porno?
Are you the caboose or the engine? Them's the jokes, folks.
Alright, these next two segments are individual reviews by Mox and Ono. Up first is Mox with a viewing of a full-length feature here on Secular Insanity.
So for Secular Insanity, I got the 2016 film Don't Knock Twice, directed by Caradog James, written by Mark Huckerby and Nick Ostler, starring Katie Sackhoff, Lucy Boynton, Richard Milan, and Nick Moran. So a mother, Jess, played by Battlestar Galactica's Katie Sackhoff, who has spent years dealing with her drug addiction, is now remarried to a wealthy businessman of sorts and tries to reconnect with her estranged teenage daughter who lives at some sort of school or youth hostel / parochial looking orfanato. Her daughter, Chloe, is haunted by a curse of some sorts, by some urban legend thing that comes for you when you knock twice on the door of an obviously creepy looking burnt down house. So come to find out that the old hag that lived in that creepy house was suspected of kidnapping neighborhood children and feeding them to the Baba Yaga, which is a funny word for those of us that have seen John Wick. But the Baba Yaga is a boogeyman / demon of sorts that eats kids. I said of sorts like 4 times. So now it seems the Baba Yaga is after Chloe, and Jess must do everything she can to stop that from happening. Okay, so right off the bat, this film is badly done. They don't draw enough attention to the mythos and rules of this urban legend, and they, the filmmakers, aren't skilled enough to work it organically into the story, so you're left with the oft-times sparse-ass information on what's going on, especially as it relates to the unseen forces that are pursuing our heroines. They also introduced the reason for their separation, her drug use, super late, and it leads to a bogged-down narrative that makes you not really give a fuck about either of the characters or the mortal jeopardy they face. I will say this, there is a cool twist that you can kind of predict coming, but it's still cool because they ended right there on the twist, so that was awesome. And the lighting and visual effects are decent, very smoldering and mysterious, so that helps the overall effect the film goes for. But know this, the Baba Yaga looks suspiciously like the shadow girl from fucking Lights Out. Overall, worth a watch if there's nothing else on, but don't actively go and seek this film. No watch CC.
So when you get a chance, check out the Indiegogo campaign for Severed Silence. It is from Almost Normal Productions, and they are trying to raise their first round of funding for the upcoming feature about a familial romani curse that makes its way back to the light of day and curses the main character, and they got to figure out who released the curse and how to stop it. They have awesome perks on their Indiegogo page. A lot of them are getting filled quickly. Check Almost Normal Productions out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I'm sure you can find a link to the Indiegogo page. And definitely check out Severed Silence. Fund it. It takes an army to make a film.
Up next is Ono's review of a short film on the widely popular segment, The Shortest Straw.
For this shortest straw, I have the 2006 short film Cell Division. This film is written, edited, and directed by Tania Raymond. You might be familiar with her television credits, which includes her role as Alex in the hit ABC series Lost. She was also Valerie on the TNT action drama The Last Ship, and more recently, the excellent Amazon Prime show Goliath as Brittany Gold. Cell Division features a large cast with bit parts, but key characters are played by Catherine Macanufo, Adam Jennings, and Paige LaPierre. So Cell Division opens with a young high school girl in her room scribbling away in her journal. Her name is Lisa, and she's looking for a person, a man, a mate, her other half. She's in search of this other half real bad. So she needs to be complete, feel complete. Heck, we all do, right? Her character comes off as not free-spirited, but more focused on one single thing. To others, though, she's a loony philosopher, weirdo kid who has no friends, a loner. But at this point, we know why she's alone. She just hasn't found her other half yet. So we see how the other students view her, treat her, typically bully behavior, or just straight up jerks. Even the goths in school think she's weird. That's how bad it is. I think sometimes though, if someone just took the time to get to know her, they'd understand. One such student happens to be there at the right moment in the most, awkward timing in the boys' restroom. He's a new kid, Tom. He's interested and interesting. It seems he gets her, wants to know her. Lisa on the other hand is mesmerized, interested, into him, and invites him over to her place. Moments later, she realizes Tom is the one, the person, the man, the mate, her other half. And so it's open to what happens next, and we infer whatever it is we want, as Tom lies shirtless on Lisa's legs and she speaks to him. But later it's confirmed what happened as Tom boasts and makes fun of Lisa to the other girls in school. It's messed up what he did and sad for Lisa too, but later all is well when new neighbors show up at Lisa's home to introduce themselves. Turns out they have a daughter around the same age as Lisa. Looks like they'll be pairing with each other. A possible match? I think so. So that's it. That's about the whole movie. The film is about 20 minutes, and it's thrilling actually throughout the whole film. It's filled with dark undertones, a black kind of atmosphere that kind of resolves with an absurdist visual kind of ending. Twisty but creative. What just happened, you might ask yourself. It's the struggles that we see of a few select adolescents and what they're going through, and no one's listening. The film has a soft consistency in the background that's constant, and it's due much to the credit of the score by Insight and Monsters Are Waiting. The music is amazing in this short, and I'm going to look for more of their work. But you should look into this film if you get a chance. Once again, the film is Cell Division, directorial debut of the talented Tania Raymond. Check it out on Vimeo. You'll watch CC. Hey, how's it going? I'm Onofre of the Taking the Lead Media Podcast, broadcasting from the island of Oahu. Here on the podcast, I release weekly playlists of mostly punk rock and hardcore tunes, occasional ska and indie rock, all independent music local here in Hawaii, around the country, and the rest of the world. Just recently, I've also had guests on the show, including local friends and rock bands, to record label heads and distributors. This is an Apple podcast, so do please check out the show on iTunes. It's also streaming on YouTube, search Taking the Lead Media, and on Tumblr at oneshotsideshow.tumblr.com. Hit me up on Twitter at TTLM Podcast and say hi sometime. You can also stream current and past episodes on this podcast website, takingtheleadmedia.com.
Yo, this one is a bit long, like Return of the King long. Effort for trying. The wild card segment where Mox and Ono choose whatever the hell they want to talk about. Here on Schrody's Ladder.
Alright, welcome to the Schrody's Ladder. Today we're actually going to be speaking on
a serious note.
The
more you know.
The more you know. We want to try to advocate for to quit smoking cigarettes.
Quit that.
Yes. Well, we wanted to share stories on our first cigarette, or actually, what got us started smoking. Like this is more of a testimony, or.
If it were video, we would have like the fucking we'd be all in shadow with just a generic name, Tom.
Man, it's weird because then during college, I thought it was.
Is that when you started? No, right?
No, before. It was actually my senior year in high school. Halfway after football season, that's when I started smoking. But I thought you couldn't. It was anti-religious to be smoking cigarettes, and
really
drinking alcohol. And I thought,
are you a Mormon?
Yeah, and I thought, oh, okay, you can't do that in front of people. Because then I'd have one of my friends during college. We'd go and buy like a 6-pack or something, and he was Christian. And when we'd be walking to the register, and he'd see off like on the other side of the store, like people from his church, he would ask me, "Oh, could you hold the beer? Can you hold it and you pay for it?" I'm like, why are you so ashamed? You're 23. You can drink. Like, is it that frowned upon? But yeah, and I thought it was the same with smoking too. And I remember sitting.
Well, I definitely feel like these days it is. Yeah.
I feel like smoking is not necessarily like it's. I feel like it's easier to quit today. Like, it's more health. Like the trend is to be healthier. So like, quitting smoking is actually a trend. I feel like it's, oh, you still smoke? Like why? It's 2017.
Well, for me, yeah, it's a monetary thing.
I feel like
they can flash all the health statistics they want, but
and I just see it in the feed all the time, like people taking pictures at the gym, them working out. So that's a trend, right? To work.
It is actually right now in this day and time. I have never seen so many super fit, like middle-aged women and people. Like it's a thing, you know. You got all these vegans and vegetarians running around. Everything's organic and whole or raw,
and that's good to live a healthy lifestyle.
It is,
but
definitely.
And I don't think people should be shamed for that.
Oh, for not?
For yeah. I mean, you know, if you got that perfect bod and you want to take a picture of it and show it off go ahead. You know?
I mean, it's kind of funny, but shit, if I was there, you know, I'd be doing that too.
It does take a lot of work to get that six-pack.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, it's constant discipline because you can get a six-pack and lose it just as quickly.
Right. Wow.
So it's constant. It's a lifestyle, you know, to be that fucking ripped.
I remember having a cigarette right before class and going in and sitting down, and this girl in the back was like, "Oh, I hate it when people come in and smelling like just reeking of smoke."
Wow.
I'm like, "You witch?" Tell it to my face. It's like, all right.
Oh, in the mainland.
Oh,
Jesus.
But and of course I was like, I'm the only one who smokes in here, so I wanted to turn around.
Wow.
And she was a music major, right? It's like, your singing sucks. Change majors, girl.
Did you tell her that?
No, I wish I did though.
Oh, that would have been. Snap.
Change majors. You don't belong in here.
Change majors, you tone deaf witch.
But yeah. And so I remember quitting smoking for a bit, like for one whole term, and like I noticed everyone else was smoking. It's like, where were you when I was there? Where were my friends? Because then it's actually, you meet someone over a cigarette. It's like the best thing, because then it's like, oh, you got a lighter and you have icebreakers.
Yeah.
Can I bum one off of you? But then,
but it's also awkward if you don't want to talk to them. Right. Then you're just two, you know, people sharing an awkward silence in the same area.
And at the end of the term, I celebrated with a pack of smokes, and then I went back to smoking again after that. Yeah, and
probably not the best reward.
It was the best too, because we could smoke in the bars in the mainland, and it would be so smoky. And then they pushed that law where you can't smoke inside. Now you have to go outside. And
in Hawaii, it's 20 feet from the door.
Yeah, I remember my senior year though. We could smoke, like at Denny's, like at Pro Ridge.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that recent even.
Yeah. They're like smoking or not smoking, and like
that's right.
That
like, used to be a thing.
Two of us in our group would be like smoking, and then, like everyone's like, okay, just smoking it up in Denny's. And I think that's when they pushed it that same year, and then we couldn't smoke inside anymore.
Yeah, it's been so long since smoking wasn't fascistized.
In Vegas, you can pretty much smoke everywhere.
Still, like pretty casinos, everything.
I think at one point you could even smoke in the bathrooms.
Nice.
Like you just bring your cigarette in there. But then now they put up a sign saying, you know,
no
extinguish your cigarette before you enter the bathroom. But you can smoke anywhere. But then I remember working at like the gas station there. Mm-hmm. People think you can smoke in the gas station store. Like they walk in with cigarettes. I'm like, no, sir. Like, and they think it's Vegas because they think you can smoke anywhere.
Right.
But no.
Well, you can definitely take your beer anywhere.
Not, I mean, if you're on the strip and near, I think, a casino, so there's limits. Like, you cannot just smoke or drink outside of the gas station.
Well, you probably shouldn't.
Certain, like, feet away or something. But like, why are you drinking at the gas station for you? The strip is that way.
Because he's about to blow up.
No. But I think within certain limits, like areas, like you can't. I don't think you can. Well, maybe you can just walk down the whole strip with a beer in your hand. I mean, what's the worst they can do? Like, they'll just tell you to throw it away.
Throw it out, yeah.
They'll cite you $200. Like, all right, let me go make this back at the tables. Yeah. When did you have your first cigarette?
I think it was 8th grade or 7th grade.
Or, so when I say first cigarette, and then, like you started smoking like thereafter, you didn't stop since then.
Pretty much, you know, it got progressively worse, but at first it was just like an after-school thing.
Oh, wow. So this was consistently, like in 8th grade?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, with just like a cigarette or two, you know.
Yeah.
Back then, I don't know if it still has now, but had lunch wagons, and, you know, everybody would chip in like a little bit to go get a $2 pack of like, I think they were smoking Cools or Benson Hedges. It rotated. For me, it wasn't the cigarette. It was just a social aspect.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, my stepfather at the time smoked, and he had the ton of cigarettes, right? So, like carton cigarettes laying around. So,
wow, so
you know,
I'd
take. I wouldn't take the carton, but I'd like, you know, steal a pack here and there, and then I'd bring it to share, and then eventually I just started smoking it myself when I was alone, and then it just became a thing.
Wow, so you smoked throughout all of high school?
All of high school, yeah.
Wow.
And actually, I was the only one out of my friends, like my close group of friends. I don't know if I told you this before, but they were like really big into basketball. That was like their thing, so nobody would smoke. You know, I only played basketball just because we were always at the court and shit, but I would mostly be leaning against the fence smoking cigarette and shit, you know. So yeah, you guys run.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, that was kind of my thing.
And to this day, and you still smoke it?
Yeah.
What's your preferred pack? Well, actually, don't. No, actually, yeah. What do you smoke?
Marlboro Reds.
Marlboro Reds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you prefer? Do you like menthols?
Not anymore. I don't like that kind of cold burn.
Oh. Do you have plans to ever quit?
Yeah. I'm going to start in August. Give that a run.
So have you attempted before to quit smoking? Like, what was the longest you've been without?
The longest I've been without is maybe about 4 months.
And you were trying to quit then?
Not trying to. It was post-surgery, you know, and they told me not to. And that's like the longest period I've went without smoking since I've been a heavy smoker. Like, I've been a heavy smoker since maybe 96. By heavy smoker, you know, I mean like half a pack or more a day.
Yeah.
So 4 or so months.
Wow.
And yeah, I remember, you know, that initial shock you're talking about, right? When you haven't smoked for a while and then you smoke again. But for me, it passes pretty soon. Like, I actually like that kind of dizzy feeling.
Really?
It's unsettling for a bit, but once you settle into it, it's like its own little high. But for me, it disappeared too fast, you know? And then you got to really be without it for a while to get that feeling again.
Wow. So I remember when I used to smoke, there'd be times when, like, in the middle of the night, I'll start coughing, just spazzing out.
Oh, yeah? Like having full-blown coughing?
Yeah, like a cough attack.
But are you asthmatic? Like, even if it's not... Oh.
No, like, and that wasn't, like, every night, but then, like, if that happened, it'll just, you know...
Just kind of...
Just like, oh,
grip you.
What the hell?
In the grips.
I remember getting to, working up to a pack a day at one point. And...
Well, I remember in the garage when we used to jam, we were like chain smoking as a fuck and shit.
Oh, yeah. That was the best. Green tea and cigarettes.
And cigarettes, yeah. Arizona. That was like when Arizona was like hitting the scene, right? That was the thing. Like green tea was the thing. And Arizona's now is the thing.
Oh.
Yeah, Arizona's, they're not printed 99 cents on the can anymore, yeah?
Some of them are. I think the bottled ones are. But I mean...
But not that big-ass fucking tall boy can anymore,
I think they
right?
try stores avoid it because then I think they'll charge like $1.19. And they'll be like, what is this, 99 cents
Yeah, I've
on
seen it way over $1. Not way, but, you know, like $1.37. Like...
Yeah.
But, I mean, such as the way of the dollar menu, you know? They should just change it to be more accurate to, like, the cheaper menu.
I remember I was on Cool Milds for the longest time. And then I switched to the 100s.
Yeah.
And then, because then you get the same amount. I mean, you get more for the same amount.
For the same amount. That's, that's, you know, once again, economics.
But then I went on to just the green pack. And that was a bit stronger at first, but then that became the norm. And then every time I tried to smoke...
But there was also hundreds? The green pack?
So, no, it's actually called super longs.
Oh,
so
really?
you would ask for cool super longs. Because if you said cool 100s, that would refer to the milds. But just to be more specific, you'd have to say cool milds. So yeah, like, you know, you always send that one friend to go buy you cigarettes.
Right, and they don't know about cigarettes.
Just
Is
say
this the one?
this.
Yeah.
And then they get you like some kind of like I remember like for Marlboro, they're Marlboro menthols, but then they're also Marlboro menthol lights. Yeah. But then they
make ultra lights too.
Yeah, there's this purple pack though. That was just it was like, I think it was like ultralight.
Well, I'm remembering ultralight as being kind of gray with a pink thing. Like they were really trying to Nancy it up, you know.
Yeah, like
I'm like, if you're gonna do that, why even make that?
So I tried to what is this purple Marlboro pack, which is weird, and so I stuck with Cool Miles for the longest. I remember, of all the time I've smoked, I've only bought one carton.
Really?
Yeah, I've never got the.
You would
went
do
to
it
the
on a day by day or as needed basis.
Because then sometimes they would have a 2-pack deal, or if you buy
right.
packs,
Yeah, that used to be popular.
But I never went because the carton was really pricey. But then I guess you get more for your.
You
dollar.
do. If you're a day to day smoker, it's just much more cost efficient.
That's why when stores do that delivery, after they give all the food, then they have to bring in the locked merchandise, and all that locked merchandise is just cartons of cigarettes.
Really?
Because that stuff, if someone were to rob a truck with all the cartons of cigarettes, you can make so much. That's the gold. It's just the cartons of cigarettes. So that's why they at the gas station they would lock that up, and then they wouldn't leave it in the front. You have to go into the back office and lock it in the office, and then the manager is the one who kind of distributes it in the store accordingly.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's the priciest merchandise for you future thieves. Go for the cartons of cigarettes. Yeah, but so from Cool Super Longs, I went to Marlboro Menthols. And I just stuck with that brand for the longest time.
What is that? Is that the white with the blue?
It's a
or green?
It's the solid green one. The light green one I think is Marlboro Menthol Lights.
Marlboro makes a solid green pack?
Yeah. Not your Marlboro Red?
Yeah.
Instead of red it's just green.
Green. Oh, okay.
So it's not a
full green, yeah. Just wherever there's red there would be green.
Yeah.
And that's just Marlboro Menthols.
Yeah. So that's what I did. And when I moved to Vegas, since I was around children a lot, and my siblings' kids and stuff, and I started running, that's when I decided to start. Oh, maybe I should taper down and eventually quit. And I finally did quit, and I was off of it for a year. But that whole year was just me thinking
about smoking.
It wasn't a real struggle, but I feel like I could smoke. And then, I wanted to be one of those, I can have a cigarette once a week.
Right.
But then, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're just going to quit, just stay off of it. And then eventually I kind of caved in because...
Total abstinence.
In Vegas, I thought, this is more of a social thing. If you're just hanging out at the bar and you don't smoke, you don't do nothing. So that's why because I wanted to go to shows, and all these shows were just bar gigs. And... So I thought, okay, I'll just start smoking, and I'll just get into it, and maybe try to quit someday.
Right.
But then when I went back on cigarettes after a whole year of not smoking, the lightheadedness came back, or was there, like how I first started smoking, and I thought, I can get past this. Yeah, it was a bad headache, and I thought I could get past this eventually, and I decided, no, it's not worth the wait. If I do get past this, I'm going to go back to smoking. So I quit after that.
Yeah, good thing you didn't fight through. I mean, your body really did you a solid there.
And then, and that was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. No craving whatsoever. Don't care about cigarettes. I mean, I could smell it. I know
it's
not
people.
Yeah, I was like, someone's having a cigarette there. Ew. Ew. It's 2017. You still smoke, dude. No.
Well, yeah, I noticed the 4 months that I'm off, it does have a particular smell, and it gets on everything, and it is really stink if you're not smoking. So I can see how they find it revolting.
And they said it actually gets into the walls.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, it gets into equipment. It'll get any place that fucking smoke and mist can go.
Yeah, and let's see. I never got into e-cigarettes. I know that was a new thing when I was in Vegas, and then that just kind of blew up.
Yeah, well, it's evolved into those fucking, I actually got one, but it fucking sucks.
It's just water vapor. I mean,
vaping, yeah.
I tried it, and it actually hits really good, like a cigarette.
It does hit like a cigarette, but it doesn't mimic enough of the feeling you get from smoking a cigarette.
I see. It's more psychological thing, right?
Yeah, so maybe I'll try and vape as I taper down, but
I remember in class in psychology, they said people who smoke were the ones who weren't breastfed. I think that's the one. Weren't breastfed or were breastfed, and they're trying to compensate for that thing in their mouth.
So they were or they weren't?
I think they well, it was probably either or. I think the
Who
cigarettes.
came up with that? That sounds wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong. But haven't been on cigarettes since then, and try to. Well, I mean, I don't tell people, oh, you should quit.
Thank God, because then that's like the people who find religion or quit something or start something to stop something. They're always trying to like sell you, like just do you, Yeah.
But
if it's
because then it's like what. I mean, you hear it all the time what it can cause.
Oh yeah, everybody knows
the late effects of it, and it affects everyone differently. But like it's your choice to do it.
It's not a good thing or a healthy thing,
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're paying for it, and you're paying exorbitant amounts and luxury taxes.
I mean, I've been off of it for 6 or 7 years, but like I'm still broke. Like,
well, because now you found something else to compensate to buy, right?
That's funny. I remember taking my roommate's change. Like he had like this jar of like coins.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Yeah, feel free to take it if you take some, whatever, if you need it." And I remember taking like $10, $12 worth
to buy cigarettes.
How
the fuck much did cigarettes cost where you were? I thought it was fucking heavy down here.
I never thought to go to the mom and pop shops. It was always Chevron.
Those will always be more expensive.
It was so much more. Like I feel like, oh my god, I spent so much money there. Like at one point I had to buy like singles, and like the cashier would be like, "You trying to quit?" I'm like, "No."
Oh, they sold it by singles?
They do.
Like in fucking Fit Element?
Yeah. Like single cigarettes. It's
wow, I didn't know that. I don't think we had that.
But
here.
I think like not everyone carries it because it's like, why are you buying a single cigarette? Well, it's because I'm broke. I'm trying to quit. And that's when because I was living in Portland or Vancouver, Washington, right? Gas went up to like $4.85, almost to like $5, and I was like counting like my money, like how much do I need to go to work, and then how much can I buy for cigarettes? I never thought to go down to the mom and pop shops down the road, and I was like,
you would have saved a couple bucks at least, or a buck and
like
change.
and I could have bought like 2 packs.
Right.
And man, this is how bad it was. Like at work, everyone's trying to bum off everyone.
Really?
Like fucking vultures. Like, oh my god, like what the. Get
so
your
like
own fucking.
Every day, it's like the same. Everybody trying to be like, oh,
can I bum one? Can I bum one? And then like, can I take 2? Can I take 2?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh fuck that.
And then you go to your car to go smoke because then you want someone to bum off of you, and then people come up to your car. You're like, see, you got some. Give me one.
Really?
Woo! Yeah, it was that bad. It's like, oh.
Holy fuck.
It was really
vulture ass motherfuckers.
These people who are smoking addicts, like cigarettes, like they're scratching.
Yeah,
like, give me that cigarette. Give me that.
So
cigarette.
just pour a little in my hand.
Can I get a couple drags, please? A couple drags. Here, just take this one, you fucker.
Well, fucking nowadays, I don't know about nowadays, but it seems like customary. If you're trying to bum from someone you don't know, you offer them money. So I got offered $1 for a cigarette from 2 different people this week.
Oh, really?
I just thought, like, you know what? Cigarettes are expensive, but that's exorbitant. Because I remember in the 90s when people were trying to bum, they'd, like, offer you $0.25, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't even offer money. I just, can I bum one?
From, like, a perfect stranger?
No, from, like, coworkers.
Okay, yeah, that I understand. But, like,
yeah.
fucking...
But, like, I was at a show, and I bummed one off of, like, a couple of people, like, strangers, and they're like, yeah, sure, here. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
those are like the lifesavers.
Yeah.
And I remember standing outside of like a 7-Eleven, like when I was like 17, and asking people to buy me cigarettes.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a few that would say yes, and then a couple would be like, "Sorry, no." That's when I was like, because my friends were like, "I'm not buying you. You're addicted." I was like, "Come on, man. You the one that got me started." feed my fix.
Wow. So it took like a stance on you.
Look, I'm standing outside of 7-Eleven at midnight. I said, "Can you buy me cigarettes?"
Well, still, you still went to the wrong place.
Yeah.
I know. Should have went to.
You cannot put that store on blast.
No, okay. Well, there's a certain store.
Yeah.
In off of Street, near a gas station.
That you could buy cigarettes.
From.
But see, the weird thing, I remember.
And you could get it from every fucking Monopole, man.
But they wouldn't sell you lighters though. That was the thing.
At where?
The same place that would sell you cigarettes, but you can't buy lighters.
Really?
Yeah, that was the thing.
That's weird.
That is weird, right?
I've never.
Yeah. I mean, some places.
That.
Yeah. And then eventually, sometimes they would card. You're like, "Oh, I'm already of age anyway." I remember at the gas station though that one of those undercover cops.
Really?
Yeah. Was trying to buy alcohol.
You.
Yeah, and then I asked him for his ID, and he's like, "I don't have any." And then the person on back of him came up to me and was like, showed me her badge, and she's like, "You passed." I'm like, what?
Oh fuck! So you actually got tested.
They do random testings, and they're like, "Good for you," because the 2 previous cashiers didn't. They got fired on the spot.
Oh, fuck! I would have failed so badly. Like, okay, even if he looks obviously over 30 without ID.
Well, the policy at that store is to card everyone.
And without ID, you cannot.
Even if the guy's like,
mad old.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, that's a shitty policy.
It's a really bad policy.
Like, I can imagine you having to explain it to someone who is obviously a grandfather.
But I think it's the establishment's fault for, I think they had a number of people who failed that test to where they have to make it a policy to card everyone. So it's not really my fault. It's all the previous workers who are like just didn't.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's your fault. I imagine that puts you on the front line in weird positions. Like, I'm sorry, sir, I just can't.
There's so many times where
it's like I've been fucking smoking for 40 years, and you're gonna fucking hit me with this shit.
Ooh, but the people who aren't compliant though, they don't ask smart back. You know, it's like
referrals.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, I don't have my, like, she came up with like an IC and then asked for like a pack of smokes and then asked for ID. She's like,
was she obviously over 21?
Yeah, and so or 18.
Or over 18.
And so I was like, I need your ID. She's like, I don't have it. And I'll be like, okay, just the IC today then.
Wow. Why did she shoot you? Like, I don't have it.
Yeah. Like, all right, okay, sure, no problem.
Back when men could be men legally.
But see, I think that's the good thing that they raised the age limit to purchase cigarettes or tobacco.
Right, 21. Is it 21 just all across the United States? At least mandatory, at least 21.
See, I don't know if it's in Vegas. I don't know if you have to be 18.
Well, I barely consider that America. Yeah. That's like in the whole town is an Indian reservation.
I think in Alaska it had to be. I don't know if it was 21 or 22. Like, it was something ridiculous.
Random.
Yeah, it was kind of like I didn't get it, understand it. But then people argue like, oh, if you're a young person who's working, you need the cigarettes. And I think to raise the age to 21, you're preventing underage smoking and maybe just smoking in general. Because then usually it's at the start, like they're trying to get kids not to smoke, right? And that's why you have to.
I agree with what they're trying to do, but I feel like if you're old enough to die for your country, you should be old enough to smoke cigarettes, fucking drink alcohol.
Sure, yeah.
Rent a car.
See, I think you gotta be 25.
Well, back when I was younger than the age, it was 24 to rent a car.
Really?
21 to get booze, 18 to get cigarettes.
Yeah.
17 to watch French movies.
NC-17. Yes. I gotta watch Showgirls. No, but.
That's right. That was fucking NC-17.
Yeah.
I never had any interest in watching that movie, and that was before I heard how terrible it was. I just was, what the fuck is this movie? It's about strippers. I'm gonna give a fuck about a movie about strippers.
I saw one scene and it was pretty. Like, I never saw that on TV before. If it was like not on HBO or Cinemax. I was like.
Yeah, I think they play it on Sundance Channel maybe sometimes or maybe. Flicks. One of those like, who watches this shit and who does the programming.
But yeah, if you're trying to quit smoking, I think you can do it. It takes a lot of willpower. I mean, coming from a guy who I love to smoke, I loved it.
I'm all about the cigarettes.
But then I had to quit, and I think it's the sooner you quit, it's easier. Like I think the older you get, it might be a little bit harder.
Yeah, I've been smoking for fucking 20 years.
Yeah. But my mom actually quit, I think, when she was in her 50s, and it was one of those she got sick, like like a flu or something, so she stayed off of it, and then when she tried to go back smoking after she got better, it just wasn't the same.
It didn't mesh.
Yeah. And so she just quit after that.
Cool.
That's what she said. Yeah. And so yeah.
Yeah, well, I look forward to being free from it, economically and just logistically, like having to leave the building on your cigarette break because, or on a break, because it's like, depending where you are, it's a journey.
And if it's like summertime and you're smoking, it's just like, the smoke gets on you and you're sweating. And
True.
It feels gross.
Sometimes I don't think about that because I'm inundated with sweat. So what's a little layer of fucking smoke? But yeah, and I feel like society has moved away from it.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's like, no country for smokers.
Yeah, and in Canada, buying cigarettes there, they put that little picture of like gum disease or gum cancer, mouth cancer, and they said this will happen if you smoke this pack.
I actually changed my mind about Canada and Canadians. I always thought they were kind of awesome, but I met some recently, and I just think Canada's super progressive. They're great people, and it's just awesome.
Oh, okay.
Kind of want to move to Montreal, but I don't speak le français.
All right, quit smoking.
Au revoir.
All right, time for intermission. And just so you don't forget who you're listening to, let me remind you with this. We are Alright, grab some coffee before we hit up this next segment, where the boys list their top 6 favorites of whatever category they choose. Got it? Good. Settle 6.
The box. We came. Now you must come with us. Taste our pleasures.
All right, welcome to this Seno 6. Today we'll be going over
top 6 screen adaptations.
Screen adaptations from novels, novelizations. Today we're going to go in order, though, of how true the movie is to the book. And whereas 6 isn't nearly close at all.
It's the furthest away, I guess.
Yeah, and number 1 being the most true.
Right. It's opinion and perspective. A lot of these, for me at least,
it's true.
It's been years since I read them, so it's just my closest recollection.
Yeah. So, but before we get started, if you hear this, our picks are different.
And if you hear this, it means our picks are the same. Top 6 screen adaptations of novels. Go!
All right. At my number 6, I have Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Originally written by Robert Heinlein and written for the screen in 1997 by Edward Numier and directed by Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah. That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, RoboCop, Basic Instinct, Showgirls.
Really?
Total
the guy
Recall.
who wrote RoboCop and Total Recall wrote Showgirls?
Directed.
Oh, directed. Oh, okay. Still.
But the novel and the movie are two completely different stories. Well, presentations really, because the soldiers and Starship Troopers, I mean, they're in the book. They're more like armored suits that you are able to bounce and jump high, and I believe they mentioned Buenos Aires. There's Johnny Rico. I don't think there are any women in the mobile infantry, but they are pilots. Yeah. And the fleet is referred to as the Navy. Like Carmen Ibanez is still in there, but it's actually Carmencita Ibanez. And Carl's in there. But when they joined up for citizenship, because he applied for a Starside R&D something. I think that's an engineering program, and he didn't get it in the movie. He got games and theory, whereas the book he got his first choice. And Mr. Ratchek, Ratchek's Roughnecks, Michael Ironside's character.
Yeah.
He's actually two different people.
Right.
So the teacher is someone else, and then you have him. And I think Johnny Rico is actually Filipino.
Really?
Because he mentions that his native language is Tagalog.
Okay, then yeah, he's got to be Filipino.
I'm the real Johnny Rico. But yeah,
whitewashing.
Yeah, right. Casper Van Dien, I still love you though. I love you. But the book, yeah, it's different. And what I like though is because usually if I watch the movie and I read a book, and I expect it to be the same, and it's different. Like I won't like the book, whereas the other way, if I read the book, I probably won't like the movie. But whereas I like the book and I like the movie Starship Troopers because they're two different things.
Oh.
But it does start off differently, or the same. Whereas they start at present time and then they kind of go back to the past and they talk about his training, and like it's just chapters about his training. Like they spend a whole chapter just talking about the armored suits that they wear.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
So you think it was probably a budgetary call or just vision?
I think they took the vision and just made it more action packed.
Well, I meant about the suits because they seem important in the book.
I think it was more practical or more doable in the movie because I think it would have been more expensive. It would have been more like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
kind of suits.
yeah.
So yeah, that would have been just undoable. And that's my number 6.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Well, for my number 6, I have 2011's The Right. The book, it is based on a book written by Matt Baglio. Baglio? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But, yeah, it's just totally different. There are so many stories actually going on. He just talks about the priest's experiences with exorcism.
Oh.
And how initially he started seminary as just a means to an end to get a college degree for free. Have you seen The Right?
No.
Anthony Hopkins and.
Oh no! I've heard of it, but no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's a pretty, especially for a fucking PG-13 movie. So I liked it, and the book I actually liked less, and I read the book after. That is pretty rare for me to see a good movie, and then read the book and to not like the book or to like the book less. I mean, it's really hard to like the source material less than the adaptation.
It's true.
But I feel they created a narrative for the film, just based on the main character. They didn't spend. It was kind of like Conjuring and Annabelle, it's a compilation of the experiences of the main character, and from that they picked one of the stories and went full blown with it.
Nice. Okay. All right. My number 5 goes to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, based off the novel The Body Snatchers by Jack Finney. I'm talking about 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because
isn't that kind of a remake too?
Yeah, it is a remake of the 1956. Actually, the 1956 version is actually more akin to the novel. But I just like the
more sci-fi, less horror.
Yeah, and the 78 version was just more terrifying.
Yeah, it was super terrifying.
So scary.
And then 2007, what were they thinking?
But yeah, they kind of gave it a twist ending because
Oh, that's not in the book.
Yeah, so at the end, right, Donald Sutherland, turns out he's like, yeah, and then you're like, whoa, that's a really dark ending. In the book, the pods actually, like Earth wins. they leave planet Earth, so it's kind of like a happy ending.
Is it based on the Puppet Masters, Or does Puppet Masters have anything to do with the Body Snatchers?
Because there was that Puppet Master movie that had nothing to do with the puppet movie, right? There was a
that one where the aliens like go on your back,
neck, right?
or
I don't know if that was related to the book. Maybe it could have been. That could have been one source that they looked into.
Oh.
But then there was that other invasion of the Body Snatchers, like the '90s one.
There was.
Oh,
God, that's right, with Gabrielle Anwar.
Yes.
Oh.
That I couldn't get through that one. That one was tough.
That was my first experience with the Body Snatchers story. Then after that was the original. Then more recently, the Donald Sutherland one, which was like, oh, okay, to me that's the best rendition of this story.
Yeah.
Cinematically.
Right. Yeah. But that was my number 5. Yeah. 78.
Sometimes you just can't beat those ones. I have the 1987 The Princess Bride.
Oh. Is this So the book is actually the story of the princess and the dude Igno Montoya, and
they're in there, but the book is and what's dope about it is that the book and the screenplay were both written by William Goldman. Right. But The Princess Bride is 2 stories like the movie. But for the movie he created the characters of Fred Savage and Columbo.
So and then that was separate, right? So
that's separate. Okay. In the book, he's actually narrating it, the idea, how it came to fruition, the studio he had to relate with, and how he needed to come up with this magic faraway lands. It's very satirical, and a lot of that, I guess, makes it into the film version, where maybe it's less satire, maybe more just kind of a playful irony.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So the book is not like straight up fantasy.
It's a book on how to write, pretty much. Really? Like if you're wanting to be a screenwriter in Hollywood, there's a lot of, it's how-to manual, but it's also a dope narrative as well.
Yeah.
So
kind of like a adaptation then, right?
Kind of, yeah, exactly.
It's a book about flowers. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, nice pick. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
So it's 5 on my list just because of that. But, independently, I love the book and I love the movie.
All right, yeah. Dope movie. Okay, number 4, I have The Time Machine. The Time Machine was originally written by H.G. Wells. And, I'm talking about the 1960 The Time Machine, with Rod Taylor. And pretty much it is almost exactly like the book, but see the difference in the book, it's so you got the time traveler, he comes back and he tells you what he saw in the future. So that's just him speaking to his friend, right? It's just narrative. It's kind of I want to say like a Darwinian approach where he's telling you his observations. And in the movie they actually show you what he observed. So it's kind of like there's that action part. So the what his story is told through all those action parts in the movie. So it's almost the same, but we get an actual representation of what he saw. So there's no real difference. But the remake 2012 or 2002 Guy Pearce, I think they gave the scientists a reason to make the time machine, right? It was because he wanted to get back Sienna Guillory.
What is this in the Guy Ritchie one?
Guy Pearce.
Oh yeah, Guy Pearce. Have I been saying Guy Ritchie this whole time?
So.
Yeah, okay, Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce. That one was more emotionally driven story.
Whereas, it's the actual story is more matter of fact.
Yeah, like he just built one. Like he just built a time machine.
No emotional charge.
Yeah, there was no reason for it. Like he just wanted to make one, and he did. So that's the only difference between the book, I feel. Yeah. So it's almost shot for shot, but yeah, we get an interpretation of his findings. So. Yeah.
Well, for my number 4, I have The Shining, 1980s The Shining.
Oh, you read The Shining?
Yeah. Wow. I read it actually as a kid before I saw the movie.
No shit.
Yeah, it was terrifying. And I would have never watched the movie but I was at someone's house and you know it was playing, and just the visuals got me to fucking attach to it. But yeah, quite a lot of that was different. In fact, Stephen King kind of hated the movie.
Right, yeah, that's what I heard, right? But it did reflect his alcoholism, right? And was it drug? Did he do drugs?
They never say that, and
I mean, Stephen King, like his addictions, did that include drugs?
Oh, Stephen King?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He did come, you know, through the 80s, so everybody's probably doing a bit/a ton of cocaine. But yeah, both versions stand up, and I actually saw them, you know, in order, right, from the source material to the movie years later.
And it was a good adaptation.
Yeah, it's good as its own thing too. You know, I kind of just look at it as that way. Yeah, actually, I saw it in the 90s at a friend's house, like I said, and I just was trying not to pay attention because I was like, fuck, I ain't gonna relive this shit. And then it was on late night one night in the 2000s when I was stoned.
Right.
You know, I came in right at the opening where there's that fucking long-ass scene as he drives to the overlook. And just the mood and the scenery kind of just made me keep on watching. Then I was like, oh, fuck, this is The Shining.
I was invited to like a birthday party, and it was like my first my friend's girlfriend's like birthday party. We were like in the 8th grade, so like there's the same like equal amount of guys and girls. So like we all sat next to like a girl,
right.
like during The Shining.
Right.
So, like,
really?
Yeah.
That's the birthday movie they chose to play?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, oh, all right. But I don't know if we got to finish it. It was more like a time to go, kids. Like, it was getting late. And so, like, so I don't think we didn't finish the movie.
Oh.
It's like, all right.
It's interesting. How old were you? 8th grade?
No, 8th grade.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's old enough to watch The Shining.
Yeah.
More than old enough, but...
Oh, nice pick. I got to read that book.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sure they have a copy of it at the library. I read it during summer school one year. They had a library. I kind of made it through Cujo and Carrie, a bunch of his old hits.
Oh, wow. Damn. Oh, okay. All right. Number 3 goes to 2000's Battle Royale. Originally written by Kushan Takami, adapted for the screen by Kenta Fukasaku, and directed by Kinji Fukasaku. The version I read was obviously translated to English, so original source materials in Japanese. But this book was, it's pretty much the same movie. I want to say little details though, like at the end of the book, the main character and that girl, they do escape, but then they're like fleeing, I think, like the police too, because they're known as kind of fugitives from that whole battle royale, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the second movie, right, they're actually like not terrorists, but like just hidden, trying to fight
insurgents.
back, right? Yeah, you can say that.
I actually never saw the second one that I can remember.
No, it was okay. No.
Like worth a watch, or it'll just ruin the magic of the first.
It's worth the watch, but this time the kids are equipped with weapons. Yeah, like they go in packed up, but I think.
And what, they try to assault the Capitol, or?
I forget. I only watched it once, but
Mockingjay and shit.
But I think everyone's like there's pairs, so it's not like you can just escape from the group, because it's kind of like that movie Deadlock.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, so like you're paired with someone, but you don't know who, and so like if you try to escape, like you get your head blown off or something. Yeah, but what I liked about this book was that each chapter began with like a body count, like who's left alive.
Oh, just kind of like in the movie.
Yeah. So like it'd be
start
like
the new day, flashing you, right?
Yeah, like who died,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and that they also give little background stories of like the characters. So like the main guy, who's like on a mission to kill everyone and win.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the book, they described him as having been born with like no emotion, or like there's a nerve in the brain that's supposed to give you feeling, like real emotions, but that part is dead in him. So that's why it's so easy for him to kill people.
Oh.
Yeah. It's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
And he translated to that one dude in the film who just doesn't say much, but he basically has the largest body count.
Yeah, like he didn't really say anything in the movie, right? Like he was just quiet.
And he's just Ninja Man.
Yeah, but they did go first with like the first guy who leaves the room was actually like a fat guy, and so that's why and he left with the weapon. So all he had to do was just stand outside and start picking people off. Like that could have been like he could have walked out, but I mean you're a kid, and so being put in that kind of situation, he didn't really think like, am I going to be friends or am I going to start killing everybody? Right. But yeah, but it was good good adaptation for what it's worth. Yeah, for a movie that came to the States years later.
For number 3, I have, what is it, 1974, I want to say? 1973's The Exorcist. So both the novel and the screenplay were written by William Peter Blatty. Well, I guess it stays true, but, you know, it's meandering because it's a novel, and he had to kind of restructure it and cut this out, cut that out. So it's kind of at the mid, you know. I like the movie more, admittedly, just because it feels more focused. You know, a lot less meandering to giving the history of exorcisms and, you know, the church itself. We're just kind of focused on the mother and the daughter who are now caught in the thing. There's actually a lot of emphasis on the father. I want to say Demi. Whatever.
Oh, because he's not that there actually in the movie, right? Like.
Oh well, you mean Father Marin, the older? I mean the younger one.
I was thinking of her dad.
Oh.
When you said father, I wasn't thinking of the priest.
Oh, like priest. Yeah. No. Yeah, the other priest, the younger priest, who didn't want to take the case initially, he has a larger part in the novel, as does Father Marin.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
But
it's hard. Like when I watched that movie, like last year, and like actually watched it, and I wonder if she was even possessed at all. Like, because then
you think that was just mental illness?
Like, yeah, and then she knew what she was doing, and like, I mean, you kind of question it, right?
For me, not really. I mean,
even though you've seen like, okay, she is clearly just abnormal, but then if you look from like an outsider's perspective, not being in the same room, right?
Yeah. And
you're
I
like,
think
whoa.
that's one thing they always need to rule out first, right, before they even think possession.
Yeah.
Is it mental illness? Is it some kind of cry for attention? But yeah, no, this was definitely demon possession. You know, sometimes I like movies that walk the line. Like I felt The Babadook was kind of there. I still feel it's more a story about mental illness than it is about like an actual monster.
All right. Because usually, a lot of those well, not a lot, but there are quite like several possession movies where it actually turns out to be like some kind of mental trauma, like at an early age, and that kind of justifies why they're acting so weird.
Yeah, I think in American Haunting or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where Donald Sutherland turns out to be
like
he was molesting her, and it's like a poltergeist from her thing, right? Like that was the most horrific turn. It's like, oh.
Or the Vivitch, but they flying at the end, so.
Yeah. No, I mean that was the dope ending of anything. That's what I remember about the movie.
Yeah, it was just them flying around a circle around the fire.
Yeah, that coven right in the tall trees. Yeah. I mean, what an excellent way to leave us, but it's just terrifying.
No.
I don't know.
All right.
Artsy and dope, sure.
Yeah. My number 2 goes to the movie Robotech: The Shadow Chronicles, 2006. It's actually based off the Jack McKinney novelization, Robotech: The End of the Circle, which is actually the final novel. Well, it's actually book 18, but they also keep going, book 19, to give up other kind of backstories in between, like episodes. But book 18 is actually the one that ends supposedly ends this whole series, right? Because it's the end of the circle and it kind of just loops back around.
Mm-hmm.
But in Shadow Chronicles, they only adapt maybe partial of the novelization, because there's actually like 3 parts or 3 different storylines that kind of meet at the end, whereas they only tell one side of the story. So the plan was they were going to release a series of movies, kind of like they compared it to the Land Before Time series, where there's like 6 movies.
Mhm.
They're going to do that, so straight to video kind of stuff.
Right.
But so far it's just that one movie, so that takes care of one part of the story, and it's pretty much almost shot for shot. It's exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah. Like, so Rick Hunter's storyline. So, yeah. So, but there's a lot more to include if they were to keep going with this series. And I wish they would. Yeah.
Was there not an anime on it? Like, you know, an anime series?
Well, yeah, Robotech. So they got the Macross Saga, New Generation, and Southern Cross. So the events of Shadow Chronicles takes place between Macross Saga and Southern Cross. So.
Oh, but they don't expand further on the.
So it's weird because in New Generation, Third Generation is actually supposed to end the actual storyline, but it's kind of weird. Yeah, it happens in another part of the galaxy, which kind of gives it that loop. But this part takes place, like in the middle of the actual storyline of the entire Robotech series. Yeah, so
cool.
I wish they would just keep going.
What are your thoughts on like a live action?
Oh, the James Wan.
Is that actually a thing that's happening? I know they were in talks and development. But...
Yeah, because he's supposed to take charge of the project, but I don't know if he's working on Aquaman.
Yeah, that's supposed to be his next one, right?
Yeah, so he took the
that's
Robotech.
Dope.
Yeah, so.
It'll be the first great DC universe movie of the new DCEU. You know, not counting any of the previous Batmans.
Oh.
So for number 2, I have 1995's The Bridges of Madison County. And it was written by Robert James Waller and then adapted by Richard Lagravenese, something like that. Anyway, it stays pretty close, but because it's actually told through a series of letters, just kind of like in the movie, except, you know, one unfolds through almost a real time versus you getting to read it, which is actually a lot more intimate than even seeing it depicted. But it follows the same track and it has the same kind of shutty down ending.
All right, so before we get to our number 1 picks, let's do some honorable mentions.
Here.
All right, so for mine, I got a House of Sand and Fog. That was almost.
That would be a good book.
It was a pretty good book, and the movie adaptation was almost shot for shot.
Really?
But some details they did take out.
But it didn't make your 6 list just because you liked it less than the other films.
Yeah, I just the movie I just wasn't into, but I did read the book and it was okay. So it was almost just.
That's kind of what I felt with the movie. I was there was certain stuff that I liked, others that fell flat, but I thought this would probably be a great novel.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and Jennifer Connelly though was the bomb in that movie. She was a bomb. Yeah,
she's a bomb in everything. Man.
Everything, yes. My other one was, or honorable mention number 2, World War Z. This one is actually different from the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very very different. Because whereas like the book plays as kind of like a history of the zombie apocalypse, because it's almost like years after it ended, and this is a retelling, like a history textbook about the events.
Oh.
Whereas the movie was just I think one part in like a million different stories. Yeah. But maybe we'll get to see more in the second one if there is one.
Yeah, if they ever finish it.
Yeah. And honorable mention number 3, The Golden Compass.
That's the only one of your 3 honorable mentions that I actually read, and I read it because you recommended it.
Yeah, and I sent you a copy of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's a good trilogy.
I only finished the first part, but then I saw the movie, and I'm like, this doesn't barely tell the full story of the one book.
That's like not even halfway through, but it gave it an ending, and we actually know what. If you read the book, you know what happens right after. Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, but it keeps going on for 2 other books. You know,
What are those ones called? So it's a Golden Compass.
I think the other one, the second one's like something knife. I think there's a knife in the title.
Also, I feel like the movie left out some of the coolest parts of the book story.
Yeah. The trilogy, though, I've heard that it's very anti-religious, anti-religion, because there's a creator in the 3 books. Like, there's one all being like God, but it turns out, spoiler alert, if you didn't read it, go read the books. The being that we know as God is actually not a God, but rather the first angel.
Cool.
That was created, but then they don't go into any more details than that. So like at one point in the universe, angels started popping up. And so the first angel saw it as an opportunity to be like, I'm the creator. And then so every being that was created after him was like, I made you.
He just took credit for it, even though he's just the first creation, not the creator.
But it doesn't explain like, oh, how does he know he's aware of himself? You know what I mean? Like if you're created and like you're just aware that I'm someone.
Like I'm separate.
Yeah,
from this
them.
And that, yeah.
I'm the only one here. Like it just gets into a deeper, train of thought, and I'm not gonna get into that. But that's basically it in the trilogy. But it does get down to like a great war, and the bear in that movie, badass.
The bear fight was mean. I honestly thought that fight was a little violent and graphic for what was marketed as a children's movie. He rips the fucking mandible off that other bear.
In the book, it's much more graphic. And you know that guy, the sharpshooter in that movie, the cowboy?
I totally forget. It's been years.
But like he dies in the book, and then the bear as like I take you as an offering. Like he eats him afterwards, like because he doesn't want the body to go to waste.
You know what they say about the bears? They waste nothing.
Honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions are Black Hawk Down, which reads almost like an after-action report with a bit of narrative and backstory.
Nice.
The movie is, of course, much better.
It's Tom Clancy, right?
Tom Clancy? No.
He didn't write that one? Oh,
No.
okay.
We're not even citing the writers, and Goodfellas. I actually never read Goodfellas, though. I just love that movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a book.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't know that either until I was, like, researching this thing. Like, oh, what movies did I love that was based on books? Oh, that was? And Pride and Prejudice. Oh, God.
My copy of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is just collecting dust. I don't think I ever
That's
get
why
to
you gotta
that.
get it digital, dude. Actually, the copy I got was like from some free PDF rip thing, and I've never read it too, so it's collecting dust in the iPad, I guess. No, I haven't read that one yet, but I'm talking about the fucking Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice. So I guess depending on what version of movie you're talking about, it'll get closer or not. But I'm talking about the Joe Wright one, so it's super condensed, obviously.
Nice.
I didn't really like the book though. I don't like the way things are described, woman-splaining, if that's a thing.
In Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But dope story. And I feel like a lot of stories, are Pride and Prejudice from there. Beauty and the Beast. Well, Beauty and the Beast was first, but I'm saying like anything where they're at two polar opposites, but yet somehow they find there's a love. And you can stack anything on that. Zombies, action, fucking horror.
Oh, okay.
Because really, in their day and time, it's as boring as trying to get married. Like, that's the plot of that time.
Really?
Everyone got to get married so we have some place to live. Because this house cannot pass to a woman, and we have no sons. So it's going to pass to our nearest male relative, some cousin who's a fucking preacher, and they'll...
Okay.
Well, yeah. So, number one.
All right, number one. My number one goes to The Giver, written by Lois Lowry, adapted by Michael Mitnick
Does that stick to the story? Because
and Robert B. White.
I guess so. Yeah. I didn't like the movie though.
The movie is pretty much almost shot for shot. Of the
Maybe I
book.
just envision it different in my head,
Yeah.
reading it, and then what I saw, the visuals.
Like there's some parts that they took out. Like in the book, it's a little bit more graphic how they release people, right?
I don't know. I haven't read that since maybe the 90s.
So,
But
like-
that was one of my favorite books of childhood.
Right, yeah.
So I was like
a really good
really
book.
waiting for that movie.
So when they release them, yeah, it's different. But they actually give you an ending, like because in the book, right, it's open ended.
I feel it was open. Was the ending? I mean, the movie not open ended?
No, they give you. He is actually saved by like there are people who live outside the community, right? Whereas in the book, it's just Jonas just sliding down the hill.
And then
with
he
the baby.
recognizes the red blood and all of that, right?
No, well, he sees like a house in the distance, but then he used his last feeling to keep them warm, and it's just him just sliding down the hill, and I see a family in that house down there, and then.
But now he has no emotions.
Like well, you don't know if he survives because it's freezing, and you don't know if he's hallucinating because he's like
That
days without
fucked
food
up,
and
yeah.
water already. Whereas in the movie, okay, we see it, and it's not a hallucination. Yeah, so they end it. And I think one of my teachers said that even the author doesn't know or didn't want to give a clear answer when asked about the ending. Does he die or does he find that family? Because then they kind of clue in like things like that there is an outside world, right?
yeah.
Like there's a plane that flew over, I think, and like something dropped from the side. So it's kind of like Truman Show.
Truman Show, that's what I was just thinking,
So it's
yeah.
exactly like that, yeah. So there's things like that. You wonder what's going on. Like it's just a kind of an abnormal scenario.
Well, I know the author of The Giver sued the studio.
Really?
Over, not that book, over The Village.
Oh, wow, really? You think it was like
Um,
similar? Well, because I could see
Similar,
the similarity,
but not enough to warrant an actionable suit, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was totally different.
Because I feel like, that idea of the giver is what makes it special, and that's not in the village. But the idea of some enclosed new utopian society is not new. So I mean, he can't claim ownership on that.
Because then, in The Giver, they point out, there's only one person who can hold all the feelings, right? And I guess color in the world, right? Because I remember reading that part for the first time where they're trying to describe red on the apple. Like, what? This is black and white? I don't... What? And then, no one has feelings. Like, but you kind of
Also, though, that doesn't make sense. How can you not perceive a vibration? How can everybody's eyes not resonate and register the vibrating color schemes? Because everything has a color unless you're colorblind, and then you still have some colors.
I wonder though, because then this could be like just so far into the future where they've kind of like
they've changed.
Not
the
necessarily
physical world.
Like your actual perception, but like because it's all about describing stuff, right? Like so like we could be seeing color, but we don't know what color is, right? If that makes any sense. Like we don't distinguish different
Well, you would distinguish it, and wouldn't somebody ask like, "Hey, what's this?" or "What's that?" Because I noticed they drape everything in fucking like a monochromatic, theme, just kind of white and grays and off whites. But I mean, I guess if you control the vegetation and shit.
Yeah, because if you don't tell them this is blue, this is red, you should just say this is how it is, and you kind of just get that one-sidedness. In a sense, but then it gets deeper, right? The person who holds all the emotions, and then to kind of transfer it, to give. he is the giver. Oh, and
what's the new position called?
The receiver.
The receiver.
Yeah. So I think Jonas is the receiver.
And you're that until you're the giver.
Because then his position would be the giver. Yeah. Or he's actually just a receiver until he has to give
to the next receiver.
But then it's not a position that he gives every year, right? Because then every
it's
time
generational, right? Till you die.
I think it's
the current receiver.
Yeah, for that particular position, because everyone gets their own position, right? After I think it's age 12 or 13, and you start training for that. Whereas to become the receiver, it takes a special person, right? Because then originally it was the giver's daughter, and then she couldn't take it,
right?
And then she asked to be released. Whoo! See, and because they
asked for suicide.
They don't say give me death, kill me, right? Because I guess there's emotional context to that, whereas just release me, just let me go.
Well, there's a connotation with release that this world is prison.
Oh. Yo, the giver is deep, yo.
It actually is for a children's book, right? There's like so many
yeah.
layers.
I wonder if it's a teen
that's why
book.
it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's a very good book, yeah. And I think, and it was very deserving of a movie adaptation. Like if you didn't read it.
But like for how long? Like fucking, they should have made this a while ago.
It's funny because I took a writing class in school, and I actually adapted this. The assignment was to adapt the book to a screenplay. So I wrote like 10 pages of this, and my professor never read it.
Never read The Giver?
Yeah, never heard of it until
you.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
I was like, oh, all right. And then it's not even 100 pages. You probably
it's really small, yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's a good book.
And the copy that I have from childhood, on the cover they have the face of the giver, and he like totally looks like the movie fucking Lebowski.
And you don't get that. You don't realize it's a black and white face. Like you don't get it until like, oh, I see now. Yeah, Giver.
Some parts though in the movie were pretty poignant. And I liked how they did that, But yeah, overall, loved the book.
Yeah.
Was kind of on the movie, but I only saw it once, so
me too.
It probably deserves a rewatch, I guess.
I don't know, because it's basically the same thing, like.
You know what it is too? It's the timing of the movie. We're inundated by false utopia movies right now. So maybe it just felt a little reminiscent of that, and I've reached a saturation point with that.
Right, it's true.
Fucking Hunger Games, fucking all of that.
Series,
Divergent. So another of this, even though it was the first and the best. But yeah, that's probably what it could be. Anyway, for my number one, I have The Godfather, which is exactly Godfather 1 and 2 in the book.
Wow, so exactly the same.
Yeah.
Wow. Do they
pretty exactly, except they expound on it,
on the in the second movie, or in the book, do they jump back and forth?
No,
like
it's told like that special version, linearly.
Okay.
Well, they do some jumping, but not as much like Godfather 2.
Right. Okay.
To kind of frame what's going on in the present, they go to the past right now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They also expound on Luca Brasi though, and they give you the reason why Vito Corleone respects but is scared of Luca Brasi, which makes it such more of a fucking downer when Sollozzo kills him so easily, with the garrote in the bar.
Okay.
Like Luca Brasi is like a man of hell. So what he did in Chicago while he was killing all Al Capone's guys, he got a woman pregnant, and she was trying to lay claim to him and have him take care of it. So what he did was he grabbed the newborn and chucked him in the furnace.
Damn.
I mean, he's fucking stone cold. But yeah, fucking awesome book, awesome movies. I mean,
nice.
I love them both the same.
I'm gonna have to check that one out too. Forgot the time.
It's a huge book though.
Yeah, I can imagine. Right. All right. Well, that is our top 6 screen adaptations
of novels.
Check out these books because they are the bomb. And the movies.
Yep.
Sort of, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, they're pretty well-known fan favorite movies, right? So I mean, get on it, people. We're not being fucking obscure.
All right. All right, man. Well, that is it for this show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And
Hope you aren't sick.
yeah, a lot of people are getting sick right now. But
I spent the whole week sick as a dog.
I think it's safe to say too, happy holidays to everyone.
Yep.
You can say Merry
Except
Christmas.
for Hollywood. Fuck
Oh.
you, Hollywood. Den of rapists. Fucking pit of vipers.
Woo. Just the floodgates open. It's like, oh.
Fuck you, Hollywood. It's all about Atlanta. Thank you, Atlanta, for existing. And Canada, too. And, elsewhere in the world, internationally. Hollywood, you're dead to me.
Oh man. All right. Well, please.
Thanks for ruining every movie I love. Anytime I see the Weinstein Company or Harvey Weinstein's name, like Good Will Hunting, I gotta be, oh, fuck this movie.
You don't think you can like separate that? You can still say
The
it's
art from the rapist?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You don't think so? It's kind of like that.
I don't know. I can't.
Like that Jeepers Creepers guy. Right.
Okay, but to me that's different in the sense that one, he paid for his crime, and two, it was like a little boy he did that to.
But see, I'm not gonna stop watching Rush Hour 2.
I stopped already because I've always hated Brett Ratner. He looks like a fucking weaselly raper.
Oh man. But it's Rush Hour 2, man.
A lot. He ruined X-Men, so fuck him already.
Oh,
He was
okay.
dead to me fucking 15 years ago. Or
Damn.
whenever the fuck he fucking ruined X-Men. But now, I see what you mean. I can separate the art from the artist.
Well, that, and because it's not just him, but there are other people involved, right? I mean, like, it's their work too, I think. It's like, it's Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. I mean, they make a great
True.
on-screen duo,
They did. But I don't.
And like, Seven, such an amazing movie.
Whoa. Why would Seven make this list?
Because
it's Weinstein?
No, Kevin Spacey's John
Oh,
Doe.
God, that's right. But see, he's evil in that movie. So
Yes.
that's why you can still love it.
Oh, okay.
But, I can't watch anything. Also, too, Brett Ratner did one of my favorite movies of all time, The Family Man. But now every time I
Family
watch
Man
that,
with
Feel Good.
T. Leone and Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
That movie's
Yes.
so good.
I love that movie.
I love that movie
But now
too.
every time, and it was just on, and I'm like, oh, I love this movie. Then I was remembering, oh, fuck, this is Brett Ratner.
No, you can say, whoa, this is Nicolas Cage and T. Leone. Amazing.
True. I mean,
Amazing.
if the producer is the creep, that's one thing. But if the director, it's his vision that
I know.
we're all, enjoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the
So
thing.
I don't know, but I see what you mean. Being able to isolate and differentiate the art from the artist, but still, I mean,
Yeah.
there just seems to be such an overwhelming amount of creeps.
I know. But, I feel that way too with like bands. Like, if I don't like the people, I won't like their music.
You don't do their music.
No. I don't.
Well, to me, it depends on what I don't like about them.
Right.
You
That's
know what
tough.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if they're just obnoxious or this or that, like, maybe get past that if their work is that dope. But I mean, doing like raping or like fucking unsolicited titty grabs, I don't know, man.
Oh man, yeah, and that's crazy. Yeah. But anyway, happy holidays, everyone.
Yes, happy holidays. On that note.
Yes. Please check us out on Twitter at at cynical _mass
_mass at Hollywood
at
forever.
Hollywood. Same goes for Instagram, Facebook, cynical.mass. And check our email, cinephiles and cenobites at gmail.com. If you want to contact us with any questions, comments,
Be a
movie,
guest.
recommendations.
Do a list with us.
Sure, yeah. Do all of that with us.
Sing the Canadian national anthem.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Canada, something like that. It's pretty awesome though, actually.
Oh, okay. Sure. But yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. Do some good shopping, I guess.
Yeah. Stay rating Oakland. And fuck you, Broncos.
My boy Marshawn Lynch warming up that bench.
Well, he's old as shit, so.
No, he is younger than us. He is only 31. He is so
Yeah, I know,
young.
but that's old as shit for football. I mean, you and I, we ain't trying to make a scholarship, you know.
Yeah.
We know our roles in life. We're not trying to steal glory days.
Oh, it's true.
The
Okay.
only ones who can play past their 30s is fucking quarterbacks and tennis players,
Ah.
golfers, but that's not a real sport yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, check us out and stay rating open.
Yeah, go watch movies.
This has been a Nekko Media podcast broadcasting from the Blood Cave, part of the Slashtag Potter family. For myself, Annika Pussyfoot, Mox, and Ono, keep the lights on and check under that bed because there's only one universal truth. No lives matter. That means you.
We have candy.
This is us, Ono and Mox's podcast. Sounds like crap leaving ass, or duck fucking glass. Probably both, it's really bad. And we do the shit all for you. And we sound like shit while we do. Tigers